accepted.
We're all getting ready here to talk about some proposals that we have in response to what we see as one of the major issues in Idaho, and that is unemployment and the need for good paying jobs. Brian Cronin has been our caucus leader in this effort, and so I'll turn it over to Brian, who's the caucus chair of the House Democrat.
Thank you, John. Good morning. We began the 2012 legislative session with a focus on ethics, as we feel strongly that we need to restore trust and accountability to our state government in order to effectively tackle any other issues. We are pleased that a bipartisan group is examining several ethics initiatives, and we fully expect that meaningful reforms will make their way through the process this year. Now, we turn our attention to the other issue that we hear so many people talking about at town hall meetings, in grocery stores, and around the dinner table: our economy. Idaho Democrats believe that by working together, we can put Idahoans back to work and usher in a new era of prosperity. There's little question that Idaho has been hit hard by the Great Recession. By most measures, Idaho's recession has been deeper than other states, and we're recovering far more slowly than other states. Recent reports show that people of Idaho are still struggling. A record 230,000 people are now receiving food stamps. Our catastrophic health care fund is paying more and more for people who can no longer afford health insurance. We still have more than 60,000 people out of work throughout our state. Not to mention the people who are underemployed or who have lost hope and simply given up looking for work. As an Idaho economist recently pointed out, we are stuck in a low-skill, low-wage trap, resulting in Idaho wage earners making $11,000 less than the national average. Now, unfocused tax cuts and giveaways without a real plan will not generate prosperity or jobs, despite what some of our Republican colleagues might say. There is no credible evidence anywhere that giving indiscriminate tax breaks will create jobs. There's no business owner anywhere who simply starts hiring the minute he or she has more cash on hand. Companies hire because they have more work than their current staff can handle, and because consumer demand justifies more production, not because they got a tax break. Idaho's current economic situation is unacceptable, and it's not out of our hands. There are common sense, proactive solutions at hand, many of which have worked for other states and can work for us as well. The legislature must play a critical and active role in returning prosperity to our communities. We thought so in 2010 when we first proposed our IJOBs package, and today we continue to push for real solutions to our ongoing economic challenges. So how do we get tens of thousands of Idahoans back to work? First and foremost, we believe that we must nurture responsible, broad-based economic growth and prosperity by investing in our people. All of us have a shared responsibility in insisting on critical investments in education and workforce training, which have been cut drastically in recent years and must be restored. These are issues that will likely be fought over in the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee. And though our K-12 higher ed, community college, and vocational technical budgets are not explicitly part of our legislative package, we Democratic legislators will be focused on restoring appropriate levels of funding so we can invest in the workers and job creators of tomorrow. To that end, we believe the governor's IJM plan has real promise. In fact, on first review, it appears to have similar ideas that were included in a bill put forth by Democratic senators in 2010. We look forward to hearing more specifics on the IJM proposal and support the broad concepts of investing in, advancing, and commercializing our research efforts so that they result in new Idaho companies and new jobs. Our 2012 Idaho Jobs and Opportunity Blueprint, which we are calling IJOBs 2.0, hones in on 6 distinct legislative proposals that address various aspects of economic development and growth. These proposals will fuel business development and growth and create job opportunities throughout the state. They will grow existing companies and attract new companies, enhance our infrastructure, keep money in Idaho, and ensure that our economic development efforts are productive and accountable. We want to ensure that every dollar that we spend on job creation and economic development truly puts people back to work, and that the taxpayers of Idaho are getting a return on their economic development investments. So let me briefly explain the bills. First, the Value-Added Agriculture and Farmer Empowerment Act. The Value-Added Agriculture and Farmer Empowerment Act will help local family farms and surrounding regions work together to create more full-service processing plants or farm-to-market cooperatives to increase local jobs, create state-of-the-art processing facilities, decrease energy and transportation costs, enhance state agricultural exports, and keep value-added revenues in Idaho. We are also proposing a study of an Idaho Partnership Bank, or a state bank. By partnering with local community banks, an Idaho Partnership Bank would make more capital available to small business at a time when many businesses are finding loans harder and more expensive to access. Its creation would spur economic growth, create new jobs, expand Idaho's diverse economy, and it would also generate significant revenue for the state of Idaho, as it has in the state of North Dakota. Our bill seeks to create a committee to study the feasibility of such a bank. The Business Relocation and Finder's Fee Initiative. By encouraging and incentivizing Idaho businesses to persuade vendors, partners, and like-minded businesses to relocate to Idaho, we increase the potential for stronger, broader industry clusters, which will result in increased productivity, decreased production costs, and the creation of many new Idaho jobs. The Idaho Corporate Accountability and Transparency Act. As corporations take advantage of policies designed to stimulate economic activity and use taxpayer dollars in the process, accountability and transparency surrounding the application of tax incentive policies must be a priority. The Idaho Corporate Accountability and Transparency Act will require public disclosure of tax incentive details directed to corporations, including the purpose of and amount of each subsidy, how many full-time jobs they created to ensure that Idaho taxpayers are getting the best possible return on their economic development investments. The Buy Idaho First Contracting Act. Each additional dollar that circulates in our state boosts local economic development activity, employment, and ultimately tax revenue. Job creation can be enhanced in Idaho by leveraging the state's purchasing power to give preference to goods and services that originate in Idaho. The bill would allow agencies to award contracts to Idaho companies that bid up to 5% higher than the lowest out-of-state bidder. Keeping our money in Idaho produces returns many times over to create jobs and helps to grow Idaho businesses. The Microenterprise Bridge Loan Program. Small businesses and entrepreneurial startups provide high-paying jobs to Idaho citizens and contribute to the expansion of the economy. The Bridge Loan Program is a partnership of public and private stakeholders, creating a resource to help Idaho small businesses using bonding authority. The bill would establish a revolving loan fund, providing business loans for use as startup, expansion, and/or modernization to early-stage companies. And finally, a Rural Broadband Service Memorial. Idaho's economy depends on the success of our rural communities. Idaho's diverse terrain and unique culture is why our rural communities have such incredible character. Yet, difficult terrain should not impede Idaho citizens from affordable access to broadband technology. Because the survival of rural communities depends on continued access to advanced broadband technology. Many of these initiatives focus on the long-term task of breaking out of the low-wage trap that Idaho is in. We recognize the shared responsibility we have for creating jobs, an educated workforce, and a modern infrastructure. If we are to have the prosperous communities that we all desire and deserve, we must develop common-sense, proactive solutions like those found in this IJOBs package. We look forward to working with our Republican colleagues to move forward the only job creation package that is currently before this legislature. At this time, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
The final one that you mentioned, the memorial, what is that? A memorial to Congress, or?
It is, and Representative Rushi can speak to that.
I don't know how many of you remember the New York Times article on slow broadband speeds here in Idaho, but it's a fact of life, every place from Rexburg to Orfino. And this is a memorial to Congress and the FCC to release the strings on the Universal Service Fund and to work with local providers in extending high-quality broadband to rural areas.